Alright, welcome to part 3 of top 9/5 week, my non-existent viewers. Today is Tuesday, January 9th. Earlier today, I saw Night Swim, which is the latest horror film from Blumhouse Studios. I figured in this video I could kill two birds with one stone. I'll be giving you guys my first movie review of 2024, and after I give my review on Night Swim, I will give you guys my 9 most anticipated films of 2024. I think we have a lot to look forward to this year, but in the meantime now, before I wait for those anticipated films I'm excited for, let's burn some trash and talk about Night Swim. Night Swim, this film, oh my goodness. Just when I thought that Megan last year from Blumhouse broke the whole curse over like January horror films, because Megan last year was really, really good, despite it being a January release date. January is just a month every year where film studios just basically crap out whatever movies they don't care about just to get them over with, because it's not the summer blockbuster season and it's not, award season, like September through December. So let's just get rid of all the terrible movies. And this movie is an example of that. Night Swim is a adaptation of a short film. Yeah, it really should have just stayed a short film. This film is about like a family that moves into a house with a swimming pool that's possessed by this entity. It's as predictable and cliche as it gets. Like, maybe I have a very particular taste in horror movies. Like, I don't scare that easily. I'm not fazed by jump scares. I'm not fazed by gore. I am fazed by disturbing imagery and suspense. And I want to give a crap about the characters. I didn't care about anybody in this movie except the cat who they killed in the movie, and I didn't even care about the cat's death in this movie either. Like, there's nothing scary about the film. The entire movie, I was watching it and I was like, when's it gonna get scary? It never does. I kind of like watch horror movies sometimes the same way I watch comedies. I keep a straight face, say like this, the entire theater, right, like that. And if I don't get scared by what's on screen, or if it's like if I'm watching a comedy, and if I don't laugh or even crack a smile or a chuckle at a few scenes, it's not doing its job. And I did laugh at this movie. I did find some unintentionally funny moments throughout the film. It does get kind of creepy in its third act. I will give this film like a little bit of the mystery aspect of it was like a little interesting. This film, it could have been worse. I have seen like worse horror films, but it's like the dialogue is very, very stiff in a few scenes, and it's full of cliches, and it's really as generic gets. So Night Swim, I have to give it a 1 out of 9 stars. Like, it's a garbage film. Right now, a little bit of disclaimers for like my top 9, like my 9 most anticipated movies of this coming year, 2024. These anticipated films are not in any specific order. These are just simply the 9 films I'm just looking forward to the most. And keep in mind, just because I'm saying there's 9 movies on this list does not mean these are the only upcoming releases I'm looking forward to this year. There are other films I'm excited for, but these are the ones I'm like really psyched about. And also, a little thing to keep in mind, release dates are slightly subject to change. It is possible that maybe at least one of these films could be delayed to 2025, as was the case with Dune Part 2. Like, it was scheduled to be released in 2023 last year, but of course, because of delays and whatnot, now it's being released in 2024. I'm still very, very psyched for Dune Part 2. I should really listen to the audiobook of the book Dune, or read the book before I watch this film, because I love the first Dune. Denis Villeneuve, he's such a unique director in that, like, he makes these grandiose, huge sci-fi blockbusters with big budgets, but it feels like art house science fiction with Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya and all these actors and actresses. Like, the visuals are so on point, and he's just such a visionary director, and every time he makes a new film, I'm very excited to see what he's up to. And speaking of blockbusters, I'm also very psyched for Godzilla x Kong: A New Empire. The Monsterverse, in my opinion at least, it's okay if you disagree with me, is one of the rare cases of a film franchise that gets better after each new installment. We had Godzilla 2014, then Kong Skull Island, then Godzilla King of and the Monsters, then Godzilla vs. Kong. We're seeing Godzilla and Kong on screen together. This time they're buddies, facing on a new Titan together. And like you saw the teaser trailer, Godzilla has like purple spikes now. Just yes. I loved Godzilla -1. It was one of my favorite movies of 2023. And like whether it's from Legendary Studios or Toho Studios, the original company that made Godzilla films, or Legendary Studios, the Monsterverse, the Hollow Earth, and like the whole world that Legendary Studios has created surrounding Godzilla and Kong and Rodan and King Ghidorah and like all these different titans that we're now familiar with. I still haven't watched the Monarch TV series. I really want to do so before Godzilla x Kong comes out. And of course, I'm really excited for Deadpool 3. If I'm not mistaken, this is the only MCU film that's coming out in 2024, which I think is definitely a good thing, because 2023 was a very hit or miss year for Marvel movies for me. Like, if you've seen both my best movies of the year list and my worst movies of the year list, if you've seen both those videos, you probably know what I mean. Like, but Deadpool 3, they're keeping the R rating, they're bringing back Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and they're bringing back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I'm just like, yes, I think this is Deadpool's debut in the MCU, and even before this, outside the MCU, Deadpool's always been like my favorite Marvel character for many years now, and I'm very excited to see what direction they take with him. And I'm also very psyched for Kung Fu Panda 4. DreamWorks, they really know how to get their sequels right. Some of the greatest animated films, my personal favorite animated films of all time, have come out of DreamWorks. Like the first two Kung Fu Panda films, the first two Shrek films, the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. DreamWorks, when they strike gold, they strike gold. I love Awkwafina. She's one of my favorite actresses, and she's voicing this new character in the movie, and Jack Black is so endearing as Po, the Dragon Warrior. I'm so happy that he's reprising his role for Kung Fu Panda 4. And I saw this, I saw this interesting post on Instagram that the first three Kung Fu Panda films, like Po versus Tai Lung is about body, Po versus Lord Shen is about mind, and Po versus Kai in the third film was about spirit, body, mind, spirit. I guess this new chameleon villain that he and Awkwafina's character are facing together is gonna be like all three of those things wrapped together. And this coming Friday, well, I'm probably going to wait till Tuesday to see it, because I usually wait till Tuesdays to see movies, for cheaper tickets. I'm really excited for Mean Girls. I have not watched the original Mean Girls in years, but I'm very, very interested to see what they're going to do with this whole new musical. And I'm probably most excited for Ali Carvalho. If I being in this film, for those who don't know, she voices Moana, such an iconic Disney princess, and I've had a really I was in high school when Moana was released, and she was in high school too at the time, and I instantly had a big celebrity crush on her. And I'm just, if I'm not mistaken, Ali Carvalho's this is her first big screen live action appearance. She's had a fair share of roles on streaming services and on television. If you've seen the show Rise on NBC, you probably know that. So I'm so happy for her career is expanding. I'm also really excited for the return of the Apes franchise, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I remember reviewing War for the Planet of the Apes way back in 2017. I was like, you know what? This is a very satisfying conclusion to this rebooted Planet of the Apes trilogy. But if they decide to make a fourth film for the franchise, continuing where War for the Planet of the Apes left off, I would be totally on board for that too. I was totally satisfied either way. And this time, after all these years, after 7 years since War for the Planet of the Apes, we're finally getting the next installment with Caesar's son. I'm a little interested as how they're going to do the things, but I saw a trailer. The CGI and the cinematography looks beautiful already, and I'm really just, the whole world, the world being reclaimed by apes is just very fascinating to me. I'm also really excited for Nosferatu. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Robert Eggers is directing the second remake to Nosferatu, the 1922 gothic horror classic that we all introduced to 2000s kids. We were first introduced to Nosferatu for that SpongeBob episode, and Robert Eggers is directing this film. I still have not watched The Witch, but The Lighthouse and The Northman definitely want to do so. And Robert, seeing the Lighthouse and The Northman made me promise myself that I would see every film that Robert Eggers puts out now in theaters. The Northman, back in 2022, almost 2 years ago, that Viking cult classic, it tanked at the box office. And I was like, no, how could it tank at the box office? That film was so good. You gotta choose between kindness for your kin and hate for your enemies. I left my Viking drinking from my uncle's house in Denver by mistake. Darn it. But yeah, Nosferatu, I'm very excited to see what Robert Eggers does next with this film. And I know 2023 was a really rough year for Disney properties, but that does not hinder my excitement for Inside Out 2. The teaser trailer with Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne showcasing anxiety, this new emotion that Riley has, like, is with the conclusion of Inside Out 1, like, people were joking on board, it's like, hey, where's the other emotions, like anxiety or hunger or stress? It's like, well, I can say all those memes surrounding Inside Out back in 2015 has aged like fine whiskey, because now we're getting anxiety and some new emotions, and it's like, the Inside Out was just such a well-written and endearing film, and Pixar, it's like, they're just such an iconic animation studio, and like, their sequels have been hit or miss, but the Toy Story franchise has proven anything is that they can really, like, when they deliver their sequels, they deliver sequels. I'm very excited to see what Inside Out 2 is like. And last, but definitely not least, the gamer inside of me is very psyched for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Shadow the Hedgehog is going to play a prominent role in this third film, and when I saw the post-credit scene in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 back in 2022, when you see Shadow, like, in that capsule, I had goosebumps, and I started, like, squealing with joy in the theater. I was like, I now forgive Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for not putting the Live and Learn song on the soundtrack. Like, seriously, it's like they're gonna adapt. I really hope they adapt the plot from Sonic Adventure 2 for this franchise. And yes, they're bringing back Tails, and they're bringing back Knuckles, and just, yes, yes, yes. And fingers crossed, it's like, because the Sonic franchise, like, the sequel was better than its predecessor, so hopefully the third film is even better and the franchise keeps going forward from here. So there you guys have it, my review for Night Swim. Have you seen Night Swim? Did you hate it as much as I did or not? Let me know in the comments down below. And what is your most anticipated film for 2024? Let me know in the comments down below. So subscribe to this channel, please. My name is CB9. You guys have a good night and stay beastly.